I think that you always sort of brought it home when we were in those meetings together around just
Hmm.
access and the importance of access and infrastructure.
Hmm.
Can you talk to that in case people aren't necessarily familiar with the African ecosystem and what
Hmm.
first we'll go access infrastructure, but then I want to go into like all the amazing stuff that's being done. So we'll do a
Yeah,
balance of the two.
of course, absolutely. So from an access and infrastructure perspective, I mean, major challenges. We were starting out with VR, and virtual reality, like a major challenge on the continent has been around access to the headsets. None of the big tech companies sell their HMDs on the continent. And so what that means is that by the time you actually acquire one, you're shipping it in some way. So at Amazon maybe ships to, I don't know. I think the last time I checked, I think it was about just about 5 African countries. I don't know if that's increased since then. So a lot of countries don't have access to Amazon, so you'd have to find some other roundabout route to get a device in. And even if you're shipping via Amazon, however it's coming in, definitely by the time you have the markup for the shipping, the import, like all of that, sometimes you're paying almost double what somebody would pay in New York and London, elsewhere. And I think, I mean, so now I'll speak specifically from the Nigerian perspective. If you consider the purchasing power of the naira, like that is just saying, hey, we're wiping out the majority of the population in terms of access. You would have to be in sort of like this specific segment to be able to engage. So that's one element of it. Alongside that, of course, the sort of like infrastructural issues around connectivity, around access to electricity that still persist. As you can imagine, I mean, if you work in the immersive technology space, you're already probably crazy. Great. What problems with electricity? Data? Yeah, you know what an issue that would be. So those definitely exist as well. And then, I mean, one thing the pandemic did do is sort of like open up the world, in a digital sense, so that there's more access to sort of like interaction and engagement globally with other like XR ecosystems. But like previously, things were sort of like really geo-blocked, if you will, to certain parts of the globe. And what that meant was limited access to resources and to learning opportunities. Certainly back in the day, you wouldn't find institutions that were providing learning opportunities for the immersive technology. So if you wanted to learn, I mean, if you talk to like the pioneers in the African XR ecosystem, all of them will be extolling the virtues of the University of YouTube, for example, because really that was how people that
Right.
was how people, set about to acquire the knowledge. And it was really this real determination, right? To aggressively like self-learn that got people going, and you just look for whatever resources, whatever context you could make, etc., to build up your knowledge. I mean, things have opened up a little bit now, but it's still, I think it's still sort of like, not even kind of like an end note in terms of what it should be. So much more to be done in terms of that. Then, of course, as you can imagine, the issues around funding. I think if you remember, even from 2016, like one of the things people used to talk about was just how much money was being poured into the XR ecosystem around the world, and it was, yeah, it
It's
has
just
been.
ongoing. But I think
Yeah.